Hey everyone, Chuck Quinton here from RotarySwing.com. I'm going to take a look at a student here who is working on the axiom on his own, and obviously it totally makes sense. He gets it, like, I can totally see how this is going to help me with my swing, but still wasn't quite getting it. So he flew out to Colorado for an in-person lesson saying, if I can just hear it from the horse's mouth, I'm sure I can get this. So let's take a look at his before swing on the left. And what you're going to notice is a lot of the same typical things that you probably see in your own swing every single day, and you haven't been able to fix it. And let's talk about a couple of these things. One, you're going to notice I've drawn a couple lines here. You'll see his head is starting to drop down during the backswing. This is not a big deal. Certainly not an issue in terms of what's going to cause bigger problems in your swing. But what you are going to notice is that as he's going back, his hips are moving away from that line that he started at address, and you'll see his head is also driven forward a bit, and then the dreaded over-the-top move. Now, we're going to talk about this stuff in just a moment, but the big thing that I want you to focus on right now, because I've shared a couple of these videos on YouTube, is the hand path. If you visualize this, again, from the golfer's perspective, if there was a clock on the wall behind him, his hands would be traveling in what direction? They would be traveling counterclockwise, right? So again, a clock on the back wall there. I'm just going to follow his lines here with his hands. And you see them starting to go up and then over and now over the top. And you can see that shaft is a little bit steep. It's a little bit over the top. And you'll see his lower body is really just getting moved by his upper body. And by this counterclockwise rotation, he hits it off the toe. It's a very weak hit. He's completely lost the tush line here. And again, he's moving his hands in this counterclockwise direction. Now, of course, for those of you who didn't see the first couple videos, go and take a look at those. But again, we're talking about a clock on the wall behind you. So this is your perspective. So counterclockwise is the opposite direction from what you're looking at on the screen. That doesn't matter. So counterclockwise is going this way. Now, let's take a look at his after swing. We did some drills. Obviously, we worked on his swing in this lesson, and I put this little basket here as just a reminder, because if you look at his swing from here, he had a tendency to kind of push the club outside with his left hand and then rip it really inside. So putting that little basket here was just a really quick visual and feel for him. But now let's take a look at these lines here. So one, I've drawn a line on top of his head. You'll see his head going down the backswing, but more importantly, as he starts down, you see that dynamic drive into the ground where he's loading up and compressing his body, and also notice his hips. Now, I know he's not starting from a static start here. This is okay. This is purely because we were working on these drills. I wanted to kind of keep repeating this overall clockwise motion so that he could get the feel of it. But notice now how his hips in the backswing actually go deeper this direction than where they started, which is a very common trait you've seen in my videos on the Secrets of the Pros. And then as he starts down, notice that his hip is even further back than where it started. It's now on the other side of that line. He's maintained his posture. But now let's take a look at the hands, because this is what I've talked about in these recent videos. So we'll just trace his hand line here, and you're going to see the path of his hands shallows out. And it actually goes, again, the clock on the background behind you, his hands are traveling clockwise. So again, I know a lot of you got hung up on, oh no, it's counterclockwise, you can't read a clock. No, you can't read a clock. The clock is behind you. The only perspective is the one that matters is from you, the golfer, not from the video camera. So imagine again, you're looking back behind you, there's a clock on the wall like I drew over here. And so it's very clear to see that the hand path, when your hands are traveling counterclockwise for a right-handed golfer, it's clockwise for a left-handed golfer, of course, but counterclockwise, that this is what causes you to swing over the top and lose your posture, as I talked about in the 3 Pro Consistency Secrets video number 2, talking about your body also moving in this counterclockwise direction. But again, notice how his hips, instead of over here, where you can see them moving further forward into the ball, he looks all jammed up, he's off plane. And then over here on the right hand side, notice that his hips are clearing out, he's got a lot more rotation. And again, this is the key, because the axiom movement really has very little to do with the directional path of your hands. It has everything to do with how you're moving the pressure in your right foot, which creates this butterfly effect, which causes you to be able to move your body exactly like the pros, and it only takes a 10-minute explanation of this. So if you haven't seen this video yet, click the link in the description, go see this video right now so you can finally get rid of your over the top, stop casting the club, stop losing your posture, and finally learn what it feels like to swing like a tour pro.